Hi, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Johnny.
We were just having a conversation about the docuseries When We Rise.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, the amazing way this story was shaped, how it was told, being in public health, they had a lot of education around public health, and they had a lot of education about the history of how the AIDS epidemic came into the U.S. And it was told in the one thing that I really liked about the series was that it told the story from multiple sides.
Right.
So whether you, no matter your gender, no matter your race, no matter your orientation, even your age, you could relate to multiple sides of this story and how it was told.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that they did a great job of, if you will, going from one point in history to present day. And I think sometimes when people do series or films or docu-series, they're kind of pigeonholed to telling one time frame. And I think they did, and they didn't give it to you all at one time. They broke it up over different, so you had a moment to digest and take it in. But I think that Cleve and Roma was her name. I think those were two of the main characters, and I love their relationship. I think I found a little bit of some of the relationships that I have with some of the girls that they're not necessarily lesbians, but they're influential women in my life during the season of me figuring things out. I think that's what I loved. I definitely loved that.
And when you say that you saw that their relationship, it was interesting to see how we know LGBT and what it stands for today.
Right.
But back then it didn't exist. You had the gay women and you had the gay men, just like you had the straight women and the straight men.
Right.
But how that merged and that beautiful way that came together in this story was amazing.
I also think too, one of the things that I see kind of doing a then now comparison, it seems that even from the early times in the beginning of what we know as the LGBT movement, that there was always people that knew who they were and people who weren't quite assured in who they were. But the people that knew who they were, they always referred to their atmospheres or their places as it was a safe place. And I noticed, I think it was Castro or whatever the name of that club was that was where they did the drag shows. It was always like that was a safe place for people to kind of go and be whoever you want to be. And I think that that's something that we still present day continue to see to a certain extent. Of that same, there are these places that you can go and you can be whoever it is that you want to be. But one thing I know that I can appreciate from the series is, being a millennial, I can tell you I know a great deal about my African American history. But this film really woke up to me that there's a lot about my LGBT American history I didn't know anything about. Nobody taught it to me. Nobody said, hey, here's a book, But I think that speaks to the fact that my family and a lot of people's families are still struggling to acknowledge that they are a part of the LGBT community. But ignoring it doesn't mean that it's not there.
Or that it'll go away.
Right, but I can appreciate the educational aspect of this series. This series, it educated me, and I think a lot of people younger than me should see, especially a part of the LGBT community, should see this, because we were preached to as African American boys, brown boys, you got to know your American history. You need to know where you came from.
Your African American.
Your African American history. You need to know where you came from. But as a black gay male, I haven't had anyone to stand up and say, you need to know where you came from. And I think that as influencers and doing what our brand hopes and aspires to do, it's our job to start those conversations to the younger ones and make sure that they understand where they came from. This isn't love and hip hop, but it's definitely educational.
And I think that they have to be, even in their genre, even in their demographic, their age demographic, they have to be open and willing to listen. and open and willing to learn about where they came from and why they can walk down some of the streets that they can walk down now proudly and holding hands with the person that they love, even though they're their same gender. So I think that if education is going to take place, it has to take place in you, like you said, not just safe for the person that's teaching it, but safe for the person also that's learning it.
No, it has to be. And I mean, it's a continual education. I know with our brand, we started our brand in 2014, and our main goal at that time, we wanted to, change the way HIV education was presented, but we also had a goal of changing the way African American gay was viewed in the media, because a lot of times, and let me say this, it doesn't make anybody right or wrong, but a lot of times when you say Atlanta, gay, black, male, it's like you have a stereotype of characters that you see on certain reality shows, but that doesn't represent the bigger picture of who we are. We are in politics, we are in public health, we are serving our communities, and I think that if nothing else, having multiple examples of what black, gay Atlanta can mean, that's always been a goal of ours.
True. And I think that if you have not seen this and you are of the LGBT community, they talk about things like how the rainbow flag got started.
Right, and I thought that was very interesting.
Because we know that as a symbol today, but we don't know where that came from, who started that.
Right.
But it was presented in the movie as well. How we got to AIDS, and even the word AIDS. How we got to a place where we can now be considered undetectable.
Right.
That was also addressed in this series as well. So I agree, it was very educational, especially for our public health officials, to know that they lived in a time and they worked in a time where even the people that they knew that they would care for would be diagnosed one day, and by the end of the week they were gone.
Right.
And thinking about that, the mentality that they must have had, like, how could you continue to go and work in this field knowing that so many people that you know, that you befriend, that you eat dinner with, you hang out with, are now gone. Like, I would love to know, like, their mentalities of what life is like for them now versus then.
Right. And I think too, going back to that fact, the series just really spoke to how far we've come, just as people, as a group of people, but also with this epidemic of HIV and AIDS. And even when I go to my doctors now, my doctors talk to me like, it's not like it was when it first started. I diagnose a patient on Friday, and then by Monday they'd be dead. And I mean, I think that living in the space of being in a discordant relationship and understanding what that means, to know that it really didn't have a chance to live back then because they didn't know what they know now. It just makes you appreciate life, and it also makes you appreciate all the things and sacrifices that these people went through for us to be in this space today. And it really should make us want to do more than just turn up on Friday. I mean, you have to pay it forward. And I think, again, if there's anything to take away from the movie, is how far we've come, and then how much more we need to be doing present day with all the tools and resources that we have.
And that we now have access to, which was also presented in the series as well. So listen, that was our take. If you have not seen the docuseries When We Rise, we urge you to find it on your cable provider, your whatever you get your series information from, and let us know what you think. If you did the same story, how would you tell it if you didn't agree with how they did?
Right.
You can always email us at officialdavidandjohnny@gmail.com.
You can always follow us at David and Johnny on social media. Our YouTube is David Johnny. Visit us on pause.com. Check out our series, Table Talk. We would love to see you over there.
Bye.
See ya.